What's up YouTube, Birdman here, and welcome to the Borderlands 3 Zane build. Today I'm going to be covering my Hyperhero Zane, a Hyperion focused Zane build. Now this entire build is going to have a save file that's going to be over my Discord. We'll link that below. But make sure you're leaving a thumbs up on this video, subbing to the channel. Really appreciate all the love you guys have been showing, not only on these regular videos, but also the shorts we've been having as well. It's been super awesome to kind of make those like quick little digestible pieces of content for you. So make sure you're checking those out. Follow me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Birdman778 on every single day starting at noon. And if I'm not on every single day at noon, I'm more likely tweeting about that over on my Twitter, twitter.com/Birdman778. Make sure you're checking over there for any updates on the channel. Now, let's dive right on into the video. Now, I mentioned this is a Hyperion focused build. Pretty much every piece of gear that we're going to have on this build is going to be Hyperion focused. And the reason that we picked Hyperion over everything is because it's actually my favorite manufacturer in the game, and probably my favorite manufacturer like across the board throughout all the games. I've always loved Hyperion. I love the fact that they're a crit focused, very accurate weapon manufacturer, and that fits perfect for Zane, especially post DLC 5, where we were able to get those new skill trees like Purple Tree, where we have a huge crit focused build. Now let's go over the weapons that we're going to be using for this build. First and foremost, we're going to be using a Smog Cryo with ASC Corrosive. The Smog is super awesome and it can be found from Scourge, the Ineffable Martyr, during the Guardian takedown. It is essentially like a bee shield inside of a gun. Hyperion weapons will always have that little shield that will pop up whenever you're aiming down your sights, and as long as that shield is at full capacity for the Smog, you'll be shooting amp shots consistently that are able to do just extra damage. This is going to be like almost one of my main weapons on this build, just purely off the fact that just pointing at an enemy, hitting them in their crit spot will almost instantaneously kill them. And I really like this one, again, Cryo, because Zane's a Cryo character, and I like Cryo all around the game as well. Next, we're going to be using a Butcher Cryo with ASC Corrosive. The Butcher can be found from Titan during the Slaughter Shaft or just as a world drop as well, but it recently got a really big buff that essentially sped up the process that the ammo would regen in the mag. That was like kind of the niche part of the Butcher, is the fact that it constantly would just add bullets back to the mag, so you're constantly having this huge high fire rate weapon that is always regenerating ammo. Again, pretty much like the Smog, it is one of those guns that essentially if you're going to point and aim at an enemy, they're going to die almost instantaneously, so it's really advantageous for this build. Next up, we have the Redistributor. This is going to be found from Wotan during the Malawan takedown. I love this weapon because, one, it's really great for mobbing, and the fact that that 7th shot is always going to create a chaining effect amongst your enemies, and it's going to do amped damage to them. It is just all around just great for those mobbing scenarios, and also just for like single target. Like, it's still going to kind of have that high crit damage effect to it, but again, whenever you're getting against enemies like the Valkyrie, stuff like that, having a bunch of enemies around in the same area and shooting one of them is going to just chain that damage around amongst everybody and do a bunch of damage. And finally, we have a Reflex, obviously Corrosive with ASC Shock on it. I added the Shock just to kind of help with shields every once in a while, just so we're kind of getting that good flesh/armor effect with shield break. But the Reflex can be found from Genevieve on Eden 6. This is an amazing weapon just for the fact it kind of has that same thing as a Redistributor, where it will chain corrosive damage amongst enemies and within a certain area. Again, just really great for those mobbing scenarios. For our shield, we're going to be using a Revolter with ASS action skill start. So whenever we break our shield, and that's going to come off of our constant activation of Mantis, we're going to get a big boost to our damage through shock damage. Again, just really advantageous, more damage, and it's also a Hyperion shield, so it fits perfectly with this build. For our grenade, we're going to be using a Lightspeed Hyperion, but mainly because it's got the ASE Cryo on it. We really don't drop the grenade or throw the grenade or anything like that. Again, this is mainly just for that Hyperion / ASE effect. Class mod, we're going to be using an Executioner. This is going to have the effect of kill skill. Whenever Zane kills an enemy, he gains increased accuracy, handling crit hit damage and status effect damage and status effect chance. This is, in my opinion, the #1 Zane comp out there right now. Purely off the fact that you're able to constantly activate your kill skills already through Seeing Dead in your Mantis cannon, so you're just going to get this huge boost to your crit damage alongside that as well. I heard recently from TVJ Quag that the crit damage that comes from this comm is more crit damage than Flak has his entire build, so I find that really awesome all around, and it's really advantageous for this build. The one I have has weapon crit damage, Hyperion, weapon crit damage, and action skill cooldown rate, so again, very great all around. And finally, we have a Hyperion Company Man. We're not going to do the Hyperion build without a Company Man on it. The Company Man is essentially a class mod that comes from Hemovorus, where it essentially is able to boost up certain manufacturers through weapon damage, weapon fire rate, and weapon crit damage. Again, that's going to be great for this build because we are wanting all of those different things helping out our weapons. Mine has AoE damage, melee damage, magazine size. Obviously, I more just want that mag size than the AoE. The melee obviously doesn't really help us out much because we're not meleeing, but it's still very helpful for the build. When it comes to our skill trees, we are pretty packed into blue and purple, nothing in orange, because we're not really doing any splash damage, so we don't really need to go down into that duct tape mod there. We go into green tree for barrier. We're going to do 5 points into adrenaline, so our action skill cooldown rate's always staying up. Hardy stock just for shield, honestly just points more than anything. Ready for action, so we're getting that high recharge rate, and then 1 point into brain freeze, so that whenever we do that crit, we're getting that cryo effect on enemies, and then 3 points to stiff upper lip just for resistances. Again, this is more just making sure that we're kind of this unstoppable tank running through the battlefield constantly. Purple tree is going to be pretty self-explanatory. It's what we use on most of our builds anyway, but something I will kind of mention more than anything is going down to our man Flint, so that whenever we aim down our sights, we're not only going to get bonus damage, but also bonus status effect chance on that enemy, because again, doing something like cryo and something like that, we're going to make sure any enemy we shoot in the head is going to immediately get frozen. So very advantageous for this build. And also obviously Eraser, so that we're getting that huge damage to enemies that are through piercing damage. So you'll notice that maybe some part of this B-roll, whenever I fight Joey Ultraviolet, the way I kill him, he still has like a big chunk of his health bar left, but I shoot through the head of a Psycho, which then hits Joey and then instantly kills him. Again, lots of damage that comes from Eraser. And finally in Blue Tree, again, it's kind of one of those, like, we're pretty heavily set up in all the spots that we always need to be in. Obviously, I always hit on C and red because that's what's going to constantly make sure you're able to activate your action skill, not your action skills, your kill skills whenever you activate your action skill, that being your Mantis Cannon. Guardian rank, obviously Hollow Point's going to be a really big one here for us, but across the board, if you're at endgame using this build, you're more than likely going to have all this unlocked already. So just turn them all on. Nothing here is going to hurt you in any way, shape, and form, and everything here is going to be beneficial to you. Thanks for stopping on by this build. Really hope you enjoyed it. Hyperhero Zane has been pretty much my main build that I've been using on my channel recently over at twitch.tv/birdman778. Make sure you're also checking out all my content here on YouTube, that being regular build videos and shorts. We're probably going to be getting some Outriders videos up here soon because they're going to be doing a lot of good developer updates here soon, so hopefully we're going to be seeing us back in that realm here very soon. And then obviously, again, catch me on Twitter, twitter.com/birdman778. I hope you have a great night, day, or whatever it may be.